Maybe this happens to you more often than you'd like. You actually want to get closer to people, to start conversations, build real connections, but something inside you freezes. The words don't come out at the right moment. Taking the first step feels heavy, and you end up on the edge, watching more than participating. Then later, when you realize the connection never really happened, that uncomfortable question shows up. Why does it feel so hard for me to get close to someone? You start doubting yourself, your ability to form bonds, like you're always one step behind everyone else. But you're not alone in this, and there's nothing wrong with you for feeling this way. This struggle is more common than most people realize. And maybe it isn't a lack of interest, extreme shyness, or not trying hard enough. What if it's simply a more melancholic way of connecting with the world? Let's take a closer look. When this pattern keeps repeating, you stay quiet while others talk, you observe while others connect, it's natural to start building an explanation for what's happening. And unfortunately, the most common explanation is also the harshest. I'm just bad with people. It can feel like everyone around you received a social handbook that you somehow missed. They laugh easily, start conversations, build closeness in minutes. And you're there, trying to figure out what you're doing wrong. Little by little, this turns into a quiet certainty. There's something wrong with me. You begin comparing yourself, and in that comparison, you always seem to come up short. While someone walks into a room and is already talking to 5 different people, you're still deciding whether or not to say hi. And the more you compare, the more it feels like you've fallen behind. But what if this whole interpretation has been off from the start? What if the problem isn't you, but the standard you've been using to measure yourself? Because there's a very common confusion happening here. We tend to throw everything into the same category: shyness, introversion, disinterest, coldness. But these are completely different things. Shyness is fear. It's wanting to speak but freezing because of insecurity. Disinterest is simply not caring about connection. Introversion is needing time alone to recharge. But what you're feeling might not be any of those. It could be emotional depth. It could be relational caution. It could be a higher sensitivity to the kind of connection you're willing to build. You're not afraid of people. You have standards. You're not disinterested. You just don't connect with everything. It's not that you don't want to get close to others. It's that you don't want to get close in just any way, with just anyone, in just any environment. And that changes everything. Because the melancholic operates in a very specific way when it comes to connection. They don't connect quickly, they connect deeply. While some people form 10 surface-level friendships in a single week, a melancholic person may take months before allowing someone to truly get close. And it's not because of empty distrust. It's because for them, connection has to mean something. It has to carry weight. It has to be worth the emotional investment. They observe before they open up. They listen before they speak. They feel before they trust. And because of that, they often stay quiet, not from a lack of interest, but because they're still processing whether the connection is meaningful. They have a deep aversion to shallow bonds, the kind of friendships that are all performance, all presence without depth. They would rather be alone than pretend intimacy. And of course, this creates delays. It creates hesitation, but it isn't a flaw. It's a way of functioning. But maybe you've already tried to adapt, tried to be more outgoing, faster, more like everyone else. After all, the world tends to reward those who speak first, open up quickly, and make friends with ease. So you push yourself. You try to be more animated. You start conversations without really wanting to. You smile when you don't feel like it. And at first, it even seems to work. But the exhaustion comes soon after, because it isn't you. It's an edited version of you, forced and unsustainable. Then comes the sense of inauthenticity. You feel like you're pretending because you are. You feel guilty for not being able to keep up that pace. And when you get tired, when you return to your natural way of being, the isolation can feel even stronger. Because now, on top of being alone, you carry the feeling that you tried and still failed. But the truth is, you didn't fail. You just tried to be someone you're not, and that never works for long. So maybe the problem was never that you couldn't get close to people. Maybe it's the way you think you're supposed to do it. Because if you measure your ability to connect by speed, by quantity, by how outgoing you are, it will always seem like you're falling short. But what if the standard were different? What if it were about quality, not quantity? A few connections, but real ones, deep, lasting. You don't need 20 friends. You need 2 or 3 who truly matter. And for that, you need time. You need space. You need the right environment, not just any bar, any party, any social circle. The problem isn't your pace. It's trying to force your pace into environments that don't match who you are. And once you understand that, your way of being stops looking like a flaw. It starts to look like protection, discernment, coherence. Maybe you're not distant, just selective. Maybe you're not behind, just moving with depth. And maybe the world doesn't need more people who connect with everyone, but more people who connect for real. If you saw yourself in this, leave a comment. And if you know someone who feels this way too, share this with them. There are more people out there feeling wrong for functioning exactly the way they're meant to. We'll keep this conversation going. In the next videos, we'll talk more about the melancholic temperament, how it works, what it needs, and how to stop fighting against yourself. Until then,